We want to take a second to tell you guys about Anchor.
We love Anchor.
It's made making a podcast so easy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty inept when it comes to most things, and if I can handle it, anybody can handle it.
Yeah, Anchor was super user-friendly for us to figure out when we were first getting started, and it's been a great place for us to publish through. It sends our podcast to all the places that people want to listen.
Yep. And we don't use this feature because, as you know, we recorded our local public library, which we're grateful for that. But there's a place right in the Anchor app to record from your phone. So you could literally start a podcast this afternoon if you're interested in doing that.
Without any fancy equipment. Maybe sometime what we'll do is record from the park.
That would be
straight from
fun.
Our phone.
We'll show you. We'll show you how easy it is to use Anchor. It's free.
Mm-hmm.
We're able to publish on Apple, Google, Spotify, who owns Anchor. Anywhere that you want to listen to podcasts, we're there.
So how can people get to Anchor?
So if you want to start your own podcast, and we recommend it because it's the funnest thing ever, download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Thanks, Anchor. Our podcast is brought to you by Mouse World Travel. Imagine going on the most stress-free, well-planned Disney vacation of your life. Now imagine you didn't pay anything extra for that personalized service. That's what you'll get when you use an authorized travel planner from Mouse World Travel to book your next Disney vacation. From resorts to cruises and everything in between, they are here to help you get the most out of your next family trip. Just go to mouseworldtravel.com, fill out a short request form, and make sure you mention our code Ropedrop so they know that we sent you.
Hi, I'm Erin.
And I'm Katie.
And you're listening to Ropedrop Parkhop.
And we have our sexy voices on.
We are doing this from our respective homes this week. Because why?
We brought home little souvenirs from Walt Disney World.
I brought home COVID.
Yeah, it's possibly different souvenirs. We're not sure.
Because Katie tested negative.
I did, and Erin tested positive.
Oh,
Similar
so
symptoms. Weird. I don't know.
Yes.
It's a petri dish.
I feel, yes, we always say, well, Disney World is the most magical petri dish on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
But
so anyway.
I think Katie's immune to COVID because she, for some reason, always has a virus at the same time someone around her has COVID, but never tests positive.
Right. So we apologize for our audio quality. Hopefully it's okay. You can still understand us okay. But here we are. We're here recording. We're excited to be here.
Hey, nothing stops us from bringing you guys the latest, greatest Disney information. Okay, so let's start off with a review. I fully expect sometime when we're in February right now reading reviews. Next year, when we're reading reviews from January of 2023, I fully expect to have some reviews that say, man, these girls are the hardest working podcasters, doing it through COVID, through illness, just making it work. So one of you out there, go ahead and leave us that review. Okay, this one is from LB from McKay. And the title is Great for First Time Trip Pleh. I'm going to guess it's planning. 5 stars, which we appreciate. Katie and Erin are so knowledgeable and fun to listen to. Their extensive knowledge has really helped me thoughtfully plan my upcoming family trip to Disneyland. They cover a wide variety of content and are well balanced for Disney veterans and Disney newbies. Highly recommend this podcast. Thanks, LB from McKay. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Yes. And a weekly reminder to go ahead and do it yourself if you haven't yet. And remember that you can leave 5-star ratings as many times as you want to.
Yes. All right, so there's some news. We had some news happen while we were gone and while we've been recovering from being gone.
Lots of news. News heavy. Disney decided to drop everything all in one day for both coasts.
And Universal, which we're not really a Universal podcast, but maybe we'll touch on it real quick.
Yeah, we will probably.
Okay,
so to start with, they announced that La Brea was closing, and also it closed the same day that they announced it was closing.
Surprise,
we're closed. And it has nothing to do with the restaurant not doing well or anything. It's just the company that owns La Brea decided to pull out of the restaurant business. So all of a sudden it's not there anymore. But exciting news for you Earl of Sandwich lovers like us. It will have a little pop-up shop going in La Brea. for the time being until that building is torn down to get ready for Porto's.
Yes, so we know now that that's where Porto's is going to go.
Mm-hmm.
However, Porto's does not move into existing buildings, so they will build a new one.
Right.
But that's exciting because that's the closest building to the main entrance of both DCA and Disneyland. So for all of you Porto's lovers, we haven't experienced it, but for all you Porto's lovers out there, it's going to be a nice, quick, easy walk to run to Porto's and grab some baked goods.
Yeah, and hopefully while Earl of Sandwich is there, its popularity will be high enough that they'll decide to keep it permanently somewhere else.
Well, I feel like didn't they have another pop-up Earl of Sandwich for a minute too, like last year sometime? I feel like they keep reviving it.
Yeah, it wasn't a pop-up. They did say that it would be there in a pop-up capacity during the construction of Downtown Disney. So I don't know if this is what they had in mind, if they knew La Brea was going to close, or if it just...
Which, if they did, that's kind of crappy because I imagine it was a surprise for the people who worked there too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Okay. So that's one exciting thing that's happening at Disneyland. Can I share my favorite thing that's happening at Disneyland?
Sure.
They have finally listened to us. Well, not 100% listened to us, but they've thrown us a bone. And now, starting February 4th, that's my anniversary, by the way. So it's my anniversary gift. Park hopping is now available at 11 a.m. instead of having to wait until 1 p.m. So, yeah, that's super exciting. You know, I feel like anytime I enter a park, I can kill 3 hours in a park before I need to hop. So it's nice.
Yeah, I like this change. It's a good one. And maybe eventually we'll move to a 0 hopping policy, right? Where you don't have to wait any amount of time before you hop.
That'd be amazing. And I hope that our friends on the East Coast get to have this soon. I will say that this weekend on Sunday, I started at Magic Kingdom and I was done at Magic Kingdom by noon. And Betsy, our friend that was with us, we left Magic Kingdom and we were like, let's go to Epcot. And we realized it was only noon and we were like, oh, we can't go to Epcot yet. And so we went back and sat in the pool for a little while and it was fine. But we were ready to go. We were ready to go do something else at noon because we'd spent enough time there. And so I'm just excited for these hopping policies to be lifted. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Agreed. And then also in Downtown Disney and more Downtown Disney news.
Oh, sorry. I jumped right over all of that.
That's okay. I had forgotten that we had this on the list. But Ralph Brennan's Jazz Kitchen is starting their refurb already. And when it reopens, it will be Jazz Kitchen, Coastal Grill, and Patio. And it will have kind of a revamped look that will match the rest of the Downtown Disney look that's happening.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's good.
Yeah.
And I think
like
they're going to change.
Looks great.
From what I've read, they're going to change a little bit of the menu. So I think that they'll still have although I did read something that was kind of disturbing. I'll tell you in just a second.
Oh boy.
But I think that they're kind of revamping the menu a little bit to almost do like a Californian Creole fusion maybe, which and I don't think it sits well with a lot of people, but I am willing to give it an opportunity. But I did read that they're going to be calling the beignet window. And I don't know if this is accurate or not because I didn't look into it too much. But they're going to call it beignets expressed with an ED at the end, expressed.
Huh.
Like you express a pimple? I don't know.
No, like an expression.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Like you're
except for I didn't go there. I thought of other expressings.
Of course you did.
Also, real quick, while we're talking about this, the Disney Home Store and the Wonderground Gallery are both closing, and the Wonderground Gallery will be moving into the ESPN Zone, the former ESPN Zone building. And the rumor that I read is that the reasoning is the Home Store is going to expand into the Wonderground area. So I'm curious to see what happens with that. I feel like the Home Store could be a lot larger than it is. So
it's so squishy in there. It's always
squishy. So small.
Mm-hmm. That'll be great.
All right, what else do we have?
So in big-ish park touring news, Adventureland is now a dead end. So they're closing off the little walkway that is between Indiana Jones and New Orleans Square, that little section right there in Adventureland, while they finish the treehouse and while they are doing the refurb on Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
So you can no longer walk through there to go to New Orleans Square. You can still walk through Frontierland to get to New Orleans Square, though.
So here's a question. How big is the blockage? Because I imagine it's not just one wall stopping you, because that makes no sense. That's just stopping the flow of traffic, right? So there's got to be a section that's closed off. I know you can get to Bengal Barbecue, right?
Right. Yep. Correct.
But how big is the section? So that's where it starts, is right at Bengal Barbecue. Where does that closed off part end? Down by Pirates?
Maybe, or just past the treehouse, maybe right at the bridge area.
Maybe. I'm curious.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see too, opening dates on things. You know, we got this little teaser a week or two ago that Tarzan's Treehouse was reopening, because all of a sudden it was not on the refurbished schedule anymore. And then the next day it showed back up.
I know.
I'm curious to see if they'll open both of those at the same time, Tarzan and Indiana Jones.
Yeah, maybe. And maybe that's part of the reason that they are not opening it yet, because they want to not have to take that scrim down twice.
Yeah, and maybe they're getting their final finishing touches done on Tarzan's Treehouse, and they can get everything together and up and running. That would be really cool, actually, if they opened that whole section back up right at the same time. People would be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I think so. It'll be nice if it's widened a little bit too.
Oh, because it's such a bottleneck.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it might be kind of nice during this time while it's closed to go back there and eat a Bengal barbecue, because it won't be such a slog to get through there, you know?
Yeah. And Bengal barbecue, if you've listened to us for any period of time, you know we love the Bengal barbecue.
We sure do.
I could use some Bengal barbecue right now.
Okay. And then for the 100th anniversary celebration going on at Disneyland this year, they are offering free attraction photo downloads for anybody who's a ticket holder. So obviously, if you're in the park, you're a ticket holder, right?
Right.
So you
That's
can
a
have
cool
those,
thing.
Yeah. So you can have.
Have they ever done that before?
What?
Had free photos for the attractions?
That's a good question. I don't remember ever having free ride photos.
I feel like it used to be that there was a counter near all of the exits where you could buy the ride photos.
Yep. But we just always, I mean, in Max Pass days, you got Photo Pass with that for free. And then before that, you could just buy Photo Pass for what, $20 a day or something like that. And we always did that.
Once digital photos became more of a thing, it seems like they moved that route. But this is really cool. And so we've talked before about the different attractions that offer ride photos. You've got Space Mountain, Splash Mountain. And is that it in Disneyland?
Buzz. Just kidding.
We don't count Buzz. Also,
that one's always free.
If you're, that's because you only score 18,000 points. Who wants the photo of that?
Correct.
And then over in California Adventure, you've got Guardians of the Galaxy,
Radiator Springs Racers,
and Incredicoaster. And is that it over there?
I think that's it.
Yeah.
And the nice thing now is Radiator Springs has always been kind of a hot button issue, because you don't get that ride photo if you buy individual Lightning Lane only for that ride, which is really silly. You have to have bought Genie Plus for the day as well. So that'll be nice that that's included now. But this is only through the end of the celebration.
Which is a year-long celebration, correct?
Right. Starts officially January 27th.
Yes, and on January 27th, also, just a reminder, Wondrous Journeys fireworks at Disneyland start up, and World of Color 1 starts over at DCA, so you've got some new nighttime entertainment happening.
And Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway will open January 27th as well.
I'm so excited for that.
Me too.
We got to ride that last week over at Hollywood Studios, and I was reminded how fun it was.
It is so fun. And the Disneyland version has an extra scene that is not in the Disney World version.
Oh. I'm so excited. I feel like we should go to Disneyland on the 27th.
I think we should. Let's do it. No problem.
Okay, and then is that it for Disneyland, or is there any more?
No, actually, there are more dates that are going to be released at the lowest tier for those $104 tickets that are at the lowest tier. This was in a fun little letter from Josh Damaro, I think, is who sent out this letter, and it's like, Happy New Year, and just threw all this information at us. But anyway, more dates for that lowest tier ticket are opening up. So that just means more cheaper dates.
And I think I read that they have a total of about 2 months that are going to be available at that lowest price.
Which is a big deal, because there weren't that many to start with.
No.
And then Magic Key availability is going to be available off and on during the year as they open up, is how the wording was. which I don't really understand. Like, as people don't renew, they'll open up availability, or
I
they're
guess. And I kind of feel like that was just a given, wasn't it? Like,
yeah.
Didn't we kind of always assume that Magic Key would be available every now and then?
I don't know that we can assume anything nowadays, but
I would just like it to be available permanently.
Yes.
Someday things will be normal.
If you're hoping to buy a Magic Key this year, you may have the chance to do so.
But it's that just gives me anxiety, because I think, like, if you're not in the right place at the right time,
yeah, you just gotta be ready.
Yes, like with your bank account and all of your things just ready and lined up to go.
Right, and one of the nice things is to be able to upgrade your current park ticket to a Magic Key so that you save a little bit of money that way, and you can't really do that.
No.
If you're not at the park when the Magic Keys drop.
Yep. So I mean, that one, whatever. I'm not as excited about that as I am about Earl of Sandwich.
Right. Earl of Sandwich. Okay, and then a couple of just little quick Walt Disney World news things that I think are important for us to talk about, just because it could be something that happens at Disneyland eventually, maybe not.
Yes.
Free parking for resort guests, right?
Right.
Which is a big deal.
And once you're at a resort, once you're staying at a Walt Disney World resort, you are able to move between the resorts and the parking lots at the parks,
right,
as well. So that includes free parking at the parking lots, which is huge.
Yes. And then free photo pass for Genie Plus purchasers,
which they did not have.
They did not have before. So that's good weird. For them. And Disney World's Genie Plus is also cheaper than it is at Disneyland. So, and I assumed that was the reason, but
not anymore.
It's nice that they have that now.
Right.
And then this is something that I don't see coming to Disneyland, because we have such a high percentage of Magic Key holders. But annual pass holders at Disney World starting now or starting in April?
I don't know.
I don't know either. But anyways, AP holders can enter Magic Kingdom after 2 p.m. on weekdays without a reservation.
Can enter any park after 2 p.m.
Not on just weekdays?
Yeah, on weekdays. It can enter any park after 2 p.m. Anytime, except for the exception is Magic Kingdom on weekends. So
I see.
You can still go to any other park on the weekend, but Magic Kingdom you'll still need to have a reservation.
Got it. Okay, that was the Magic Kingdom caveat.
You don't think that will come to Disneyland?
I don't know. I think that we have such a higher percentage of Magic Key holders here. This is the same reason that we don't have a Magic Key specific gate like they do at Disney World for their AP holders,
Yeah. Interesting. I was hopeful that maybe it would. I just feel like that's something that so many locals hate, is not being able to just dip in for dinner after work or whatever.
Yeah. And maybe it will. I could be totally wrong.
Well, something interesting that I noticed this last week that I don't remember noticing actually, I wouldn't have noticed it the last time I went, because it was very much it was early 2021 when international travel was still just not really a thing. But I noticed this past week at Walt Disney World how many different accents I heard. Like, you hear so many international accents, and people everywhere I went. In fact, I would say it was probably 50% American or American sounding English versus 50%, English and Australian and Brazilian and like all different languages. It's such an international place. We don't have that as much at Disneyland.
Yeah, and we used to actually before the parks in Asia opened.
Really?
We used to have at Disneyland. We used to have a much bigger
Asian tourism.
Yeah, Asian tourism.
Interesting.
I feel like that has slowed down quite a bit.
Yeah, it was interesting to me how many different nationalities I witnessed while I was at Walt Disney World. It was really cool. I really enjoyed listening to all the accents. One thing we didn't mention, let's skip back over to, are we done at Disney World?
Let's talk real fast about the nighttime entertainment coming. Okay. And Tron is opening. So that's a huge deal. Tron opens on April 4th. They finally gave us an opening date for that.
You are going to miss it by how much, a week?
Yes, but I'll be there again at the end of April, so I'll get to do it. Happily Ever After is a fireworks show that is beloved. People rave about it. I've seen it. It's really great, and it is coming back. People are really excited about that. That comes April 3rd. Harmonious at Epcot will be ending on April 2nd, and then a new show, which is also an old show, right?
I think
it's been
so.
around before.
Epcot Forever.
Epcot Forever, and we don't know when that's starting because they have to take down the barges for
the big taco barges.
Yes, which people are very excited about.
Yes.
I liked Harmonious though. I thought Harmonious was beautiful and fun, and
it was really cool.
Those barges are great at night, just not during the day.
No.
Yeah, kind of an eyesore.
Yeah.
And I think that's it for Disney World. I just thought those were all worth mentioning since
I think
there could be some crossover.
Yes. But hopping back over to our beloved Disneyland, and let's end on a Disneyland note. It was announced at D23 that Run Disney was going to be coming back to Disneyland, and we finally have a date for Disneyland Half Marathon Weekend next January.
Yes, January 11th through 14th, 2024. And registration for that will open to the general public on February 14th of this year. However, if you are I don't know what the
Gold or Platinum Run Disney member, I believe is what I read.
Then you can register early on February 7th. And then there's a virtual option that you can sign up for starting February 17th.
So Valentine's Day for the general public, we know what Heath is getting for Valentine's Day this year.
Yes, he is. We've already discussed it. He wants me to do it too. He wants that to be my Valentine's gift to him, is me also running the race.
Wait, which one?
I don't know. Probably the half is what he wants. I don't know.
Heath, that's a lot to ask.
Yes, big, huge commitment. So there's a 5K, a 10K, and a half marathon.
And I imagine because of that, there will be some sort of, so this weekend we were at Walt Disney World during marathon weekend, and marathon weekend consists of a 5K, a 10K, a half marathon, and a full marathon. And then there are 2 bonus races or bonus race deals.
Medals.
Yeah, so you can do the Goofy, which is the full marathon and the half marathon, and that's called a race and a half. And then you can do all 4 races, and that's called the Dopey, which is, I think, appropriately named. I can't even imagine running a 5K, 10K, half marathon, and full marathon in 4 days.
No, but we got to hang out with a handful of ladies that did that.
Yeah, we did. And I follow them on social media as well. And I just I got to go spectate the half marathon, and it's several hours of running. And then those people had to get up the next morning early and do double that. It just blows my mind. Mine too. Congrats to all of them. Yeah. I wonder if we have any runners that listen. Congrats to anyone who completed that. It's amazing. Amazing. It's just something I don't think I could ever do. Yeah, it's crazy. And then we don't talk about Universal very often because it's not really our specialty, but they dropped some weird announcements today. If you're a Universal person, they're going to be opening a new park in Frisco, Texas, which will be geared towards younger children, interestingly enough. Yes. I don't know why they didn't just add on to their existing park and make a children-centric area, but fine. People in Texas are excited. And then they also dropped some news about a year-round Halloween-themed park in Las Vegas. I wonder when they're coming to Boise, Idaho. Right. Where's our theme park? We have one in northern Idaho. It's called Silver. Not a Universal Studios, though. That's not true. A big name brand. I'm excited to try the new Super Nintendo World. Yeah, I am too. It looks really cool. In fact, I was talking to my friend today who's planning a Disney trip, and she was thinking about adding on a Universal day. And she has one of her kids who's a really big Mario fan, and so they were really excited about the idea. They ended up just, I think, deciding not to, but it looks really cool. And I'm excited. And these 2 new parks, I didn't see the Halloween one in Vegas, but I saw a little bit about the one in Texas. It looks fun. Yeah, I think it looks fun too. I don't really have younger kids, so it's not really on my radar, but hey, it definitely appeals to a lot of people, so that's good. All right, so that's it for news. And then we want to do a trip recap, but we want it to be good quality, and this is not our best quality. And so we had these big intentions of doing a trip review this week. We've got so much to talk about. We have hotels to talk about. We stayed at 3 different hotels. Yep. Well, Actually, let's talk about this. I stayed at 3 different hotels. Let's give you guys a little glimpse into what happened. We told you on our last episode, we told you that there was a little bit of a change in plans. Let's talk about that a little bit. So originally, when we started planning this trip, originally it was supposed to be shorter, and then it kind of grew into a little bit longer trip. And our final trip looked like Tuesday to Monday, right?
Yep.
So we left last Tuesday, flew to Orlando, got there super, super late, checked into our first hotel just for the night to sleep. And then we moved to another hotel, stayed there 2 nights, and then we moved to a third hotel and stayed there 3 nights. And then the plan was to come home Monday. But
I had a funeral to come back for.
Yes.
Which was important for me to come back.
Yes. So
I was sad to cut the trip short, but.
For sure. And I was sad to lose Katie, but Katie ended up coming home Friday. So Katie ended up only staying at 2 hotels with us, and luckily.
But the third hotel that they stayed at is one that I have stayed at before. So
she missed out, but she's also had the experience before, so she's able to comment on it. But it was interesting because those weren't our plans. Obviously, you can't plan
right
what happens.
And with all of the flight stuff that was going on, we were a little bit nervous about whether that was all going to work out. And luckily we were able to find different flights home and separate ourselves out, but it worked out fine.
Yeah, it did. And, Katie made it home to the funeral that she needed to attend, which was very important. And I'm glad you were able to do that.
Me too.
It left me all alone. Well, I had Betsy, but Betsy had other things going on, and so I got to have some Erin self-discovery time
at Disney World. I love it.
Yeah, some introspection.
What better place?
Yes, wandering the countries of Epcot, thinking about the meaning of life.
But we're excited to tell you all about all of it when we have some better audio quality.
Right. We want those to be good episodes, but things that you can look forward to. We'll talk about the hotels we stayed at. We'll talk about our VIP tour experience, which was amazing. And we'll talk about just the trip as a whole. So please stick around with us, even though this was not our best episode. Please don't give up.
We're still here.
We're just sick. Yes. But we'll be back next week, and we'll start talking about our Walt Disney World trip. And thank goodness Disney dropped enough news to give us some content for this week.
Yes. And hopefully you guys all had a very happy holiday season and a great new year, a great start to your new year. Make sure you're following us on Instagram at Ropedrop.Parkhop.
And once again, subscribe, rate, and review to the podcast if you're listening on Apple. If you're listening on Spotify, we wouldn't mind a 5-star rating there as well. So we appreciate all of those. We haven't gotten a review in a hot minute, so we'd love a couple reviews.
Yes. Thank you so much for everybody that's reviewed us so far.
And we'll be back next week. We'll talk about this trip.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.